All right, and good day, and thank you for joining us today. We have Grant Prudhomme from the Plumbing Bros, who I've known through BNI, local BNI group here in San Antonio, the Hill Country group. And today he's going to talk to us a little bit about his business, how he's been successful, and some of the measures that maybe you could take away to look at and say, well, maybe I could do something like that as well. So, Grant, thank you for being a part of this podcast today.
Oh, thanks, Alan. It's happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about how you got into the plumbing trade and why you started your business and what just your reasoning of where this all came from.
Well, I'm a multi-generational tradesman. My father owned a plumbing, electrical, and air conditioning business my entire life growing up. Um, I used to go to work with him as a child, just to kind of give me something to do. I had expensive hobbies, and my father wanted me to pay for them, so I
There you
went to
go.
work to support those hobbies. Rode motocross, things like that. So I began plumbing at the age of 5 or 6, and really just stayed in the business my entire life. When I had breaks from school, when I had time off, holidays, things like that, it was always jump in the truck and go help my dad. Probably about the time I was 10, I would show up to the shop in the mornings during the summers, and I'd ride with one of his technicians for the day. So he really believed in making me a multifaceted plumber, by working with different plumbers throughout my life, to because every plumber's got their different styles and how they fix things and how they do things. So I was able
Yes.
to garner all that experience. So it was always, part of my life was plumbing.
So you've also seen the evolution of the products and services and even the
Right.
job that plumbers do because it hasn't it changed over time?
Absolutely. Especially in places like South Louisiana where I grew up, you have a lot of the older plumbing systems, older piping, a lot of terracotta pipe and Orangeburg and this
Yes.
tar composite stuff. And we've seen that more from the 80s all the way to now. It's absolutely crazy the different things that we can get into, with water heating and
Mm.
especially water heaters. They're kind of the biggest technology booster in the plumbing trade these days, going from where we were to just gas fired units that used a burner to heat them up to now instantaneous, 20 gallons a minute of hot water.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
I know that you have, just listening to you in the BNI group, you've talked about how you've expanded and really pretty rapid expansion and success. What do you see that sets you apart from the myriad of other plumbers that are available in San Antonio?
Well, I will tell you, I started this business to be relational, not transactional. There's too many transactional businesses in this trade where, hey, call me, we go to your house, we do a job, costs this much money. That's like going to the grocery store. It's not personable. Um, so we've 100%, we're a customer service business that offers plumbing. Every customer matters. It's not just a, hey, we get to change a water heater today. It's, hey, we're going to help out Mr. Gatlin with his water heater because you know he's having issues with this and that. And so it's really about maximizing the comfort in your home. um, I started out of a pickup truck, 2 years ago this month, and it's crazy how it just evolved because we went back to our roots of taking care of people and letting the money be a byproduct of what we do. And by doing that, we scaled very quickly. We let our customers dictate our growth. When I was booking people a week and 2 weeks out, I realized, hey, I need to hire a plumber. And then we did it again and then again and again. So it's, when you let your customers dictate your growth, it's hard to fail.
So I hear you saying that it's really more about the interpersonal relationships. It's about customer satisfaction more than the products that you're selling
Right,
or service you're
right. Look,
providing.
look in the service business, we're working in the home service business is what I've found over the last 10 years. I've ran multiple businesses from 5 to 100 million in revenue.
Yes.
Um, and what I've found was people just want someone they can count on, right?
Yeah.
And someone they can trust. So, with us, when we present an option to a customer and say, "Hey, this is what we believe needs to happen with your home," they trust us because we're not swinging for the fence on every job. I'll come to your house and fix a faucet, and that'll be it. And we'll be happy. We'll shake hands. We're not going to try to sell you things you don't want or need, and that really sets us apart.
It really does. Just from other tradespeople that I've worked with and spoken to, and unfortunately had some unfortunate experiences with over the years. So what do you think your biggest challenge has been in terms of coming to the point you are now and the direction you're headed?
The biggest challenge for me has been like teetering the growth. Um, there's been opportunities for us to scale even faster, right? Because maybe we can't get to somebody for 2 or 3 days. So the biggest challenge for me has just been weighing the pros and cons. Hey, do we bring someone else on board to help these people?
Hmm.
Our hiring process is a lot different than most companies. I can make anybody a plumber, but I can't make everybody a great person. So
Yeah.
we take their personality piece first. Every employee takes a personality test, right? And it's not a, I'm not going to hire you if you don't, if you're a certain personality type, this, that, and the other. But I truly believe in team cohesion. So if we have somebody that comes in here and they're just like, oh, I'm a top dog and I'm better than everybody else, well, they're not going to fit in, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody inside my organization just cares about the customer. And we let, like I said, we let the money be a byproduct. So really what I can say is we've hired the right people in the right positions from day one um, to ensure that growth.
So, it's interesting in the trades because I work with several other businesses and other trades. Have said that their biggest problem is hiring good people or people with the skills. They don't frame it the same way you do in terms of looking for people that fit and because I didn't hear you say anything about skills that they had to have skills up front.
Well, the I guess I have like an added whatever I look, I've ran just here in San Antonio, I ran three large businesses, right?
Yes.
One was a local company, one was local that sold, and one had been bought out, and I was the general manager of that company. And there's about 55 to 56 plumbers that I managed between those three companies over a
Hmm.
span of 3 years, right? Um, and the relationship building starts inside the organization, right? So I can't train my people to build relationships with customers if I'm not building a relationship with them. So I have a very easy formula with my guys is I take care of them, they take care of my customers, the customers take care of the bank account, and we just keep
Yes.
revolving around that way. So I've been blessed with the fact that I know these guys are good plumbers, but now it's just I've got this pool of people to pick from that I've managed and led in the past. That I've got I can count on two hands, probably four hands, the amount of guys that have called me since I started up. Hey, I want
Right.
to jump on board. I want to be a part of it. But we've been very careful on which ones we brought on board.
That's very wise. So, what pivotal moment or achievements do you think had the greatest impact on your business and where you are today?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a there's two sides to my business. Sorry, my camera fell. There's two sides to my business. One side is we offer plumbing service, right? And so you give us a call, you have a dripping faucet, leaking water heater, toilet stopped up, drain stopped up. We take care of that every day. We run 5 to 8 service calls per day within the company. Um, but I'd say like the growth factor, we partnered with several foundation companies
Hmm.
and offer their testing for the plumbing to get their warranties after a foundation repair.
Yes.
Um, so we decided to take a loss leader there and offer these tests to these companies for free. Into the home to the homeowner. So once a foundation lift is done, we'll go and test the drain system and the water system. And if there's no leaks, the customer's good to go, not a penny out of their pocket. We just tell them have a great day. And that's about 60% of those tests that we do. So we
Wow.
take a 60-40 loss on that. But the 40% that fail, we're able to, offer them we're able to sell them a job to pinpoint what's leaking under their slab if it's a drain leak.
Right.
And those jobs range, after we pinpoint it for X amount of dollars. Look, those jobs range from 4,000 to over $100,000 to replace the drains. So
Yes.
it's a lead. It's just like paying for leads with Google or Facebook or how much you're going to pay for these leads. Except I'm paying for them with fuel and with an hourly wage for a guy to go do these tests. But when they fail, it absolutely makes up for the overhead you're spending for even the ones that pass.
So you see this type of association and outreach to be kind of a game changer for your business?
Absolutely. Look, Google, Yelp, Facebook, all these big conglomerates that own marketing for businesses, right? I mean, you have to pay to play, pay to play, pay to play. Well,
Right.
I don't love it. Do we
No.
use Google? Yes. Do we use local service ads, pay per click? Of course, because we're not crazy. But do we put all of our eggs in that basket? No. I'd say we put 20% of our eggs in Google's basket. And I'm able to do this and change these people's lives at a better expense, right? Because the expenses I'm paying is for an hourly expense to an employee rather than giving a big corporation probably more money to generate a lead.
Yes. Well, that's exciting. I totally agree with you. I think these types of collaborations and reciprocal type of arrangements can be far more effective and long term, um, be more cost effective than trying to do just traditional advertising. So I commend you on that. That's really
Right.
exciting.
And we get every bit of the customer's information from these foundation companies to be able to book a job, set up a
Sure.
call. So look, the way I see it is it's twofold as well, because yeah, we get to go and service them, change their day, make them happy. But we also get their email addresses, their phone numbers, things like this. So we're able to market specials to them. We have
Yes.
discounts, things like that. And I've pulled in the last 9 months from that revenue stream of remarketing to them. We've pulled off about $45,000 in revenue we would not have gotten because we wouldn't have had their information to send them these. Hey, we had water heater specials and water softener specials going on.
Yes.
So we're getting free leads and then another free lead on top of it. So it
There you go.
more than pays for the overhead. So no one else was willing to do it, but we were.
Well, I think that's a very wise and just in terms of getting that contact information and building up that list for a drip campaign, you've shown how successful obviously that can be.
Correct.
So, how do you measure success and ensure that you're really meeting the customer's needs?
Well, I will tell you, I'm going to tell you we actually went over success 2 weeks ago in our morning meeting with my guys. I asked every one of them, I said, hey, what does success look like to you? Right. And then I read them something by Mr. Earl Nightingale, right? Success is the
Mhm.
progressive realization of a worthy, you know, goal or ideal.
Right.
Um, my father showed me a video of this back probably in the early 2000s, when YouTube was just becoming a big thing. I remember watching this
Yes.
video and it changed my life on how I measure success. Of course, we have KPIs, we have metrics. We built an annual budget. All those
Yes.
things. But it's really cool in this business where I don't have somebody over my shoulder. Some equity group telling me, "Hey, I need 70% gross margins. I need 25% net profit."
Right.
Man, those numbers, while we look at them, we don't live our life by them. Okay, in this business because we've been so lucky. Um, we've been so lucky that our guys just go out there and do it every day. So the way I measure success is I look at the amount of people we serve, new people we
Yes.
serve. Um, I look at our reviews, right? Um, that's the lifeblood of your business these days is your reviews. If someone's upset with you, they're gonna leave a bad review. If someone's
Yes.
really happy with you, they're gonna leave a good review. If someone's just they're just not gonna leave a review, right? So you get your extremes. You get your really happy and you get your really upset. Thank God we haven't had any really upset customers, right? That has got to that point. But our success, of course, we can look at the bank account, we can look at this, we can look at all these things, but it's only going to tell us a piece of the pie, right? So I look at my guys' work-life balance. I look at how much they're getting paid. um, I just helped one of my employees that I've been with for a really long time. I just helped him purchase his first home. I didn't help him, I didn't give him any money, I didn't do this, but we structured his payroll to where he'd be able to do it from day one.
Yes.
um, so let me tell you, the day he called me and told me, "Hey, I just signed papers. I'm going to close in June on this new build. Got really good rates. Got this. Thank you for everything you've done for me." That was the most successful day I've had in this business to date. The most successful day because I did what I set out to do. I created a business that'd be a haven for good people that want to do good work and not screw customers over. And it
Yeah.
was it came into fruition, right? It came full circle. And so I was able to not only change a customer's life, but I was able to change one of my employees' lives.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, putting your people first. Wow. It seems to be, it used to be the way people did business, but I think anymore is almost a lost concept, and I commend you. That's exciting.
Absolutely.
So what's next? What's next for the Plumbing Bros? And then the second part of that question is what advice or what guidance would you offer aspiring entrepreneurs as they are aiming for long-term success like you're having?
Well, next steps for us, we it kind of changed over the last month. We of course we build goals out. We have our 1 year plan, our 5 year plan, our 10 year plan. And then we plan
Yes.
by quarter. So the end of Q2, I'm already planning Q4, right? End of Q1, I'm planning Q3. Now, my success in business has been my ability to pivot. Okay. So look, we have a goal, we're working towards it. But we're not going to go after shiny objects that pop up, right? But what we're
Yeah.
going to do is be realistic. Economy changes, buying power changes for customers, financing, interest rates, all these things that are out of our control change. So what we do is we've been really good at pivoting. Okay, so the service side is really going to drop down, because maybe no one has any money, or hey, it's tax time. People definitely aren't going to have any money, to be able
Yes.
to afford things, this, that, and the other. So what we do is we gear up the other side of our business. Um, we are working heavily on marketing right now. We've got a
Mhm.
really good marketing company we work with. They put together a new plan. We've hired a new social media marketer. So we get that side, because it is my belief that this tunnel work and this foundation work we do is not sustainable. The
Yes.
longevity isn't there. You've got a couple years. We're going to be out of a drought. There's going to be less foundation problems. God willing, we get some rain. Um, but we capitalize on it while it's coming. But what we've done is we've taken 70% of the profit from our tunnel work, and we've reallocated that into reinvesting into our service side, because that's what's sustainable. That's
Wow.
what makes a company built to last, right?
Yes.
Like the ability to call me and say, hey, my toilet's broken, or we've got a leak outside, we've got this, right? So we've taken that money from what we've made over here, which is a pretty big pot because
Yes.
it pays well. And look, we've bought machines and cameras and tools, and got all of our
Hmm.
vans together and ready to go to where we can serve that next level customer. Um, we're opening extra locations. We're servicing right now Waco to the coast, on
Oh,
the tunnel side. And so right now we're creating a bridge up into Austin, to be able to offer our service plumbing there as well.
that's
Uh,
exciting.
so
So you got a young entrepreneur starting their business. What would you advise them? What guidance would you give them?
take as many business owners to lunch as you can, right? I had the fortunate I grew up in a company that started from nothing. I was there when my dad started his company. I watched the struggles, the pains, the wins, the victories, the losses, the whole thing. Um, and I've also ran multiple businesses, so I had like a little bit of an upper edge on the business side.
Yes.
But man, find a mentor, right? Like none of this stuff is brand new. Nobody's come out with something that's like, this is going to change your life in business. Nothing else matters. This is the new way to do things, right? My success, I guess, has been because I've always been a part of best practice groups between my
Yes.
father and other companies. Um, my father was part of a group called Contractors 2000, which eventually turned into Nexstar. A bunch of the founding members of Nexstar came from Contractors 2000 back in the 90s and early
Yes.
2000s. I belong to an organization called Built for the Trades.
Hmm.
And it's literally just a peer-to-peer mastermind grouping and coaching of other plumbing and electrical and HVAC business owners. Um, but man, you have to find a tribe, I guess, is the best way to say it. Find a
Yes.
group of people that know more than you, and don't be scared to not know something. Um, I I grew up as a dumb plumber, right? But I always felt I was more intelligent than that. So I got into the business side of it. But man, let me tell you, I don't know everything. And there's days where you can beat your head against the wall, can't figure this out, can't figure that out.
Right.
All it takes is a phone call to a mentor or somebody else
Yes.
um that can be there to help you, find a good bookkeeper from day one. That was my biggest struggle. I didn't have a good bookkeeper starting
Oh
out.
boy. Yeah.
And did it cause me a lot of headaches? I was one of those, thought I could do it all myself, until I realized very quickly I couldn't, just because
Yes.
of the time.
Absolutely.
And I'd say the last piece, if you have a family, definitely don't sacrifice your family time for your business. Because guess what? The customers will still be there on Monday while you're spending time with your kids on Saturday or Sunday.
Good for you. Well, those are great words of wisdom. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they reach you, Grant?
Man, you can give our office a call at 830-490-2767. Of course, we're on Facebook and Instagram as the Plumbing Bros TX. And then our website, which has been redesigned by our marketing company, it's pretty cool. It's just www.theplumbingbrostx.com.
Super. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I will post this up and I look forward to seeing you at our next BNI meeting.
Thank you, Alan. It's such a pleasure, man. I always love and enjoying talking to you.